Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we have an insane leak for the Ahsoka series. We're taking it as a leak slash a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. That there being said, though, of course, I want to go ahead and warn you guys, continue with precautions. We are talking about potential official leaks for the Ahsoka series. We have a lot of different sources discussing and talking about this, and I also want to go ahead and put that other warning out there that yes, this is one of those things that's kind of just openly floating around social medias here on YouTube, here on Twitter, here on Instagram. I made my thumbnail so it didn't include any type of spoilers, but yes, those leaks that we are going to be discussing in this video for the Ahsoka series that is right around the corner do possibly potentially include some major spoilers, but it's just too exciting. I can't resist and I have to talk about it. So for those of you that want to know about it and discuss it, of course, let's go ahead and we're going to jump right on into it. But there is that fair warning of potential spoilers and leaks. So with that there being out of the way, we take it back a couple of months ago, I think, where this really does originate from, saying that the Ahsoka series would have something to do with the planet of Mustafar, the lava planet. Something into the terms of having a potential flashback or something along those lines of the world between worlds that we see discussed and kind of looked into the events of Star Wars Rebels, the animated show, of where the Ahsoka series would actually include some type of flashback or a scene partaking in the world between worlds of where Ahsoka finds herself on the planet of Mustafar. Now, the in-depth actual leak slash kind of rumor that's been surfacing around says that Ahsoka goes to Mustafar. Whether or not this would be a flashback or a world between worlds, just the way that this has been described, I personally believe it to be a part of the world between worlds, of where we go back to Anakin versus Obi-Wan Kenobi that we see in the events of Revenge of the Sith, of where an alternate universe partakes, of where Anakin actually defeats Obi-Wan and Obi-Wan is kind of discarded into a pile of clothes, very similar to how we see him in the events of A New Hope after he is actually defeated by Darth Vader. He just kind of turns into nothing and is just kind of a pile of clothes, and from there we see Anakin go on to duel Ahsoka instead. So saying that, I think that would very much be a part of what we would see with the world between worlds. And for another thing of what kind of this rumor slash leak kind of also says is that this would be something as a what if, or a kind of just what if overall scenario, or an alternate reality of where Ahsoka does stay in the Jedi Order and actually goes with Obi-Wan Kenobi to Mustafar to kind of confront Anakin. So sources wise, taking a read from Bespin Bolton and MakingStarWars.com, I'll have them linked in the description down below. They read from their article saying that yesterday Making Star Wars took to his daily YouTube show and podcast, The Making Star Wars Show, where he discussed various pieces of news from this week, including the runtimes for the first 2 episodes of the Ahsoka series, Star Wars Jedi Survivor coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox, plus took questions from those in the chat. One question from a viewer had promoted a discussion about a past report from a couple of months ago from Making Star Wars themselves, which he released towards the tail end of last year, which detailed a confrontation between Ahsoka Tano and Anakin Skywalker on the lava planet of Mustafar, set during the events of Revenge of the Sith. In the report from December, Making Star Wars shared that scenes were shot that featured Hayden Christensen in his Revenge of the Sith robes, and that Christensen had been training for a fight scene between Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano on the planet of Mustafar. The Ahsoka Tano had featured in the fight scene itself is a younger Ahsoka Tano version, as would be fitting for the timeline, and that a younger actress would actually also be used for Ahsoka for the shoot, rather than Rosario Dawson. The scene itself was reported to take place in the world between worlds, as seen in Star Wars Rebels, as I had mentioned, where Ahsoka Tano, played by Rosario Dawson, would see a possible vision or timeline that's meant to show her that Anakin falling to the dark side in part of Skywalker's destiny, and that there was nothing Ahsoka could actually ever do. The lesson for Ahsoka to learn during these scenes is that she cannot change destiny, and that she must just simply embrace it, no matter how hard or painful it is. And I've got to take a step away here from this article and just say, holy crap, that is described perfectly, honestly, from the overall initial reports and leaks that we had been hearing from both Beth Ben Bolton and also from Making Star Wars themselves as well, of where we have a different actress also playing Ahsoka in the scene, because this is taking place in a different part of the timeline, closer to the end of the Clone Wars during the events of Revenge of the Sith. And also foreseeing of that reason of why we are actually even seeing something like this. And it does simply say that this is something that's supposed to take place of part of the Worlds Between Worlds that we see in Star Wars Rebels, of kind of where Ahsoka is supposed to learn a valuable lesson of having Anakin fall to the dark side and becoming Darth Vader, and everything to those regards is something that was just simply a part of his destiny of being the chosen one, and there is nothing that she could have really done to ever interfere with that, and that it wasn't even her fault at the end of the day. Now, 8 months removed from his initial article, Making Star Wars had also briefly expanded on those scenes shot last year during his YouTube show, and added that a dead Obi-Wan Kenobi was present for those scenes when they were being shot, and that it was seemingly shot 2 ways. Making Star Wars revealed that one scenario featured Kenobi's corpse, which was simply a dummy, and another was a pile of clothes, as I had mentioned, similar to what we had seen in A New Hope following Kenobi's confrontation with Darth Vader, of where he became one with the Force, and we see him later as a Force ghost. As MakingStarWars.com had said in their overall show there, saying that, end quote, they filmed a sequence where Ahsoka sees herself on Mustafar, fighting Hayden Christensen's Darth Vader before he's in the suit, during Revenge of the Sith. There are new scenes. They had a dummy for a dead Kenobi, and they had clothes for a dead Kenobi. They had 2 ideas there. One is Anakin literally kills Kenobi in that fight, where the idea would be Ahsoka and Kenobi confront Darth Vader together. Another is he turns into a pile of clothes, just like he always did. He becomes one with the Force at that time in the narrative. Ending that quote right there, it seems as though that there's 2 different outcomes of that. One maybe a little is too violent, having just a straight up dummy corpse of Obi-Wan, and the other one being a simple pile of clothes. That being said, I think that says 2 things about the Ahsoka series. They wanted to take it in 2 different directions, of that it's something that could have been more violent, having just a straight up corpse just kind of laying there disregarded, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then the other one being not as bad, and also paying homage to A New Hope, as we later see down the timeline of how Obi-Wan kind of just turns into a pile of clothes in the events of A New Hope. But I also think that also kind of confirms of that the Ahsoka series is going to include some of those darker tones and themes. This is just one of those pivotal points of where maybe it's just a little too dark. And so as Making Star Wars went on, he added that the second option, the pile of clothes option, didn't make much sense to him personally. However, he did say that those 2 versions of a possible dead Obi-Wan Kenobi did exist, and that they were even filmed, but joked that the pile of clothes could have just been a placement marker for all he knows, which is honestly quite honestly very legitimate at the same time. But I'm still gonna stick with the fact of that maybe they filmed 2 alternate scenes. I would love to see whatever scene that they don't go with, though, however, in some type of gallery episode for the Ahsoka series, similar to how we have seen it for all seasons of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. I also want to include another kind of disclaimer here. Don't get your hopes up or anything like that. This is simply a rumor, kind of a plot leak in a way. As the show progressed from Making Star Wars, they had urged that viewers to remember that the fight scene between Anakin and Ahsoka on Mustafar likely isn't in any type of an extended sequence, and for fans to get their expectations in check. He compared the scene of Ahsoka traversing the world between worlds and seeing various possible timelines as Ahsoka walking down a hallway and looking into different mirrors or windows. Meaning, though, that filming could have taken a significant amount of time, what appears on screen could simply be there for a few short seconds. This year all being said, of course, I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about this potential leak slash spoil, plot point, whatever you want to call it, about the Ahsoka series having Mustafar scenes in the comment section down below? I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Once again, remember, this is a simple rumor at that, a simple kind of leak in a way, rumor really though, so take it as a rumor, take it with a grain of salt. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.